talk a little bit more about how you got started in this area? And I asked this question with the context of there seem to be quite a lot of people who are inhabiting the
Yeah.
Coaching space.
There are now,
There are now, for sure.
irritatingly. When I first started, there were fewer.
Right.
So I'm coming towards the end of my, I'll be coming into my 5th year. So I started in 2000,
Okay.
early 2000. And the origin story of it was that, well, first of all, I think it's important to note 2 things. One is I've always done a lot of coaching and mentoring
Yep.
most of my life. It's been a very strong part of my teaching. I've had a lot of time with students of all levels, from undergraduates, master students, postgraduates,
Hmm.
and one of the things I noticed a lot and learned about teaching and learned about people back then was how much people block themselves but think it's the thing, right?
Mm.
So I've really had, when it boiled down to it, I had very few situations either as a lecturer or at Fjord as a design director when
Hmm.
people were really struggling and saying, I don't know how to make this thing. I don't know how to design
Yeah.
this. What they were always struggling with was one of 2 things, and one of which was themselves,
Mm.
and this sort of anxiety and all those things going on there.
Hmm.
I had plenty of students, in tears in my
Oh.
office, and quite a few colleagues too, or people stuff, or
Mm.
both, right? So
Mm.
people, it was, I kind of really mostly realized this, I think, when I was at Fjord, actually. It was most obvious there, but teams were saying, the team went dysfunctional and they'd fallen out and they were kind of arguing with each other.
Okay.
Well, they had a difficult stakeholder of some kind, either the client or someone from Accenture.
Okay.
And it was really all of that they were asking me to kind of step into,
Mm.
and not the, hey, Andy, can you help us design that thing?
Sure.
So in that sense, the design director is actually a real misnomer.
Mm.
And so when I left, I thought I was going to do train client teams, which I still occasionally do in all that stuff I mentioned before.
Sure.
And I thought I'd do some kind of mentoring or coaching, but I didn't realize it was going to be such a big part.
Okay.
And when I was on calls with people lining up the work, and these were design leaders, these are people running design departments or whole regions sometimes,
Yeah.
and I was trying to get, land the training gigs, I was having these kind of very long other conversations, sort of therapeutic conversations
Mm.
that were along the lines of, yeah, I'm really struggling to get stakeholder buy-in, and I'm not quite sure how I should build my team out and who should I hire next,
Mm.
and this, that, and the other. And I was advising them on that because, I wanted to get the training gig.
Yeah.
And it was my wife, who's a psychotherapist, who said, why are you giving that away for free? And it was that moment I was like, oh, that's the work, actually. And I like this. I'm quite good at it. And that's where that came from. And I guess the last thing to say, which is also important, is that my wife's a psychoanalyst. She's a Jungian from C.G. Jung,
Okay.
and it's what I've done for many years as a self-exploration thing more than anything. And I probably draw as much from that experience of 6 years as I do from my design experience.
Mm. Mm.
So that's how the coaching arose, and now I've sort of got this. It's a bit of a niche, but there's what I call the design leadership dip, where there's this moment where people move into a leadership role,
Sure.
or they've been there for a while, and they're either like, I'm in this role and I don't know what I'm doing, or this is where I've always wanted to
Yeah.
be, and now I'm not really sure that I want to do this, and is this what it's all about? And I don't know, and people go through a sort of mid-career, midlife crisis about at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And my job is to help them through that and to be someone who's also been through that themselves and not just a kind of general life or career coach.
Got it.